All right, so 2C, buddy. So all of module two is all about we were starting to write programs up. All right, and we've got a whole heap of different clients and case studies that we're going to be using to put programs together. Now, there's a million different ways to write programs. We're going to teach you one way to do it. Now, this isn't the be all and end all to program writing, but it's the structure that we will use throughout this course because there's certain criteria that we have to tick off when putting programs together. So if you just follow this structure that I kind of go through with you today, you will find it really easy to kind of put programs together throughout the course. As you start working in the industry, you just said that you just got a job at Anytime Fitness, which is awesome. So they might have their own way to program, which is cool. It doesn't mean that what we're doing is wrong or what they're doing is wrong. As I said, there's so many different ways to program, but just with this course, to try and make sure that we can tick you off that you were covering this syllabus. This is the way that we're going to kind of go through programming. That's the way I program anyway. So it's nothing too far fetched, but yeah, it's just a way to go through it. Cool. So the first part of 2C is we have to actually put a program together for our client. So this is we're going to develop a training session for our client. Now, remember when we're putting programs together for our clients, as a Cert 3 qualified trainer, you don't actually take them through the program. You're more just designing it for them, giving it to them, and then they're doing it themselves. So why that's important is that we don't want to do things that are too complicated because a majority of our clients are going to be just general population. And that means that they're not going to be very savvy in the gym. So when we're putting programs together, we don't want to just do really basic, boring training because people, come to us because they want different stuff. But we don't want to make it so hard and so complicated that they can't do it by themselves. So there's a really fine line there that we're going to go through. So. Let me just show you what this looks like. So this is the program that we have to go through. All right. So we've got a warm-up phase, and every program does. Then we've got our main body. Then we've got our cool down, and then we've got our flexibility and stretch. So after we write out the program, we then got to come back up to the top of the program and put in equipment required. So don't start by trying to write the equipment out because it's just too hard. Just put the program together first, and then once all the exercise is down, then you know what equipment you need. But the last thing that we need to do here, and it's down the bottom of the program, which is extremely important, because there is no such thing as a wrong program. What we have to do is put down a justification, and what a justification is just why you've put the program together the way you have. When it really kind of just ties all the loose ends to the program off. So if an assessor is looking at this, to mark you competent and mark this question right, then they can look at your program, they can read this comment down the bottom here, and then they can say, yeah, sweet, I understand where you're coming from with this with this program. So that makes sense. So that's how we're going to kind of put these programs together. Cool.
Yeah.
Got me? All right, sweet as. Okay, so the program that we have to put together is following on from 2B, and it's a program for this client, Rebecca. So just going through who Rebecca is. Rebecca is a semi-professional tennis player. She's currently in her off season and has joined your fitness facility because she wants to train with a few of her friends who are members at the gym. Rebecca's goal for the off season is to maintain her conditioning and improve her strength, especially in her lower body. So that's who our client is, and that's who we're going to work with. Okay. So the key things there when we're putting this program together is that it has to be something that is, well, firstly, she's a semi-professional tennis player. So we're gonna with that, we're gonna kind of, I guess, we're gonna assume that she's quite, like, she knows her stuff in the gym. So we don't have to do really basic stuff. We're gonna we're gonna assume that she can do some more technical stuff and some more advanced stuff in the gym, which is great. And we can have some fun with it, because the more advanced our athlete is, or our client is, sorry, the more that we can kind of prescribe to her or them. So that's the first thing. The second thing is that she's in her off season. So, off season's all about recovery. So we don't want to, like, overload her with too much stuff. But at the same time, her goals are that she wants to maintain her conditioning and improve her lower body strength. So for me, when I'm looking at that, I'm thinking, all right, well, maintaining her conditioning. So she just wants a top up of conditioning, but she wants to improve her strength in her lower body. So we need to be, really focusing on that lower body strength. Sweet.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah. All right. And the last thing is that she wants to train with her friends. So the program that we put together needs to be something that's, that you can do in a group kind of situation, as well as, just doing it by yourself if she's with her friends. Cool.
Yeah.
All right, sweet. So let's go into this program, and let's get started. So when we're looking at our program, we've got our warm up, and we'll always have spaces to fill in for 5 exercises. Now for the warm up, you always need to fill in all 5 exercise kind of boxes or rows. And so in our first exercise, in our first row, it needs to be an exercise that, and we call it our general exercise, which is, our general warm up. It's an exercise that will increase the client's heart rate, increase the client's core body temperature, and promote blood flow to muscles. So it needs to be a full body movement. Traditionally it might be on like a cardio machine. But you can think outside the box. If you can think of an exercise that she can do where it's going to work her full body, it's going to promote blood flow to muscles, it's going to elevate her heart rate and increase her core body temperature, then we can put it down. So, what could we just kind of talking at the moment? What potentially could we have there for our warm up exercise? Do you think?
I find a row to be quite good.
A rower?
Yeah.
Man, 100%. Great one. Really good one. Full body. Yeah, rower's a great exercise. So let's put down rower for our first exercise. That's really cool. Awesome.
Cool.
So are you on 2C?
Yeah. Oh, sorry. I think I just opened up the 2 to know.
Yeah, that's cool, man. If you
see right now, so I'll just drop down the row.
Awesome. All right. So our second exercise in our warm up, well, our second exercise to our 5th exercise are what we call dynamic movements. Okay. Now, dynamic movements can be broken up into like a whole heap of a range of exercises. But just think of like stretching through movement is what we call a dynamic movement. So if you think about training at the moment, what are some dynamic movements, dynamic stretches that you might do before you start a gym session?
So with her, there will most likely be like lower body stuff. So I think hamstring swings is probably.
Yeah, great one, definitely. So let's go down to exercise 2 there, and let's put down leg swings as exercise 2. Awesome.
Sweet.
All right, perfect. All right, exercise. All right, now same again. Exercise 3. What's another dynamic stretch movement that we could do?
crucifixes are good for your lower back.
Yeah, crucifix is a really good one. Awesome. So let's do that one. Crucifix is a great one. Nice.
Sweet.
All right, and a dynamic stretch that I always, recommend, it doesn't matter what program you're doing to always have, is something called, I don't know if you know, it's called thread the needle. So it's when you're running on your hands and knees,
Yeah.
you kind of bring your arm underneath your body, and then you rotate up, stretching, through.
That's right.
Yep, through your thoracic spine, which is the top part of your body, through your chest, and it's a really good full body kind of dynamics stretch that you can do. That because even if you're doing lower body exercise, you still are using your upper body. So doing exercise like a thread the needle is a really good one.
Yeah.
Then exercise 5, always try and do like a dynamic movement that's going to like activate some localized muscles that we're going to be using. So, what normally you do this with a band. So if we're going to be doing lower body, or we're going to focus on the lower body, what's a lower body banded exercise we can do to really activate through our lower body, do you think? So do you do banded work and stuff before?
Yeah, a little bit actually to do with the glutes and stuff. And,
yeah. So what's one of those exercises that you would do with glutes?
Oh, I forget the name of the exercise, but it's when you got a band like around your knees and you're kind of pushing your knees outwards to activate your glutes.
Yeah. Yes. So one of them's called a clam. So that's where you get around your knees and you're like opening your legs and closing.
Yeah.
Probably the most common one, which I always recommend, is just doing like what we call a crab walk, where you stand either around your ankles or around your knees, and you're kind of in a squat position, and you're moving to your left, and then you're moving back to your right. That's a really good exercise.
Yeah, that sounds like a good one. Yeah.
So let's put number 5 as our exercise. Let's do it as crab walks.
Cool.
Not sure why that was red for you, mate. So let me just fix that up. Okay, awesome. All right, so now we're going to move into our sets. So with our rower, normally we'll just do one set. So let's just put one set in there. Normally the reps, we'll just do it for a time. Depending on how savvy the client is, how fit the client is, will depend on how long you do it for. But anywhere between 2 to 5 minutes. With this client, because she is a semi-professional athlete, we would assume again that she's quite fit. So we'd go for the full 5 minutes. So let's just do 5 minutes there, or just 5 MIN to stand for minutes. All right, now what tempo is? Tempo is when we're doing certain movements where there's a down phase and an up phase. We suggest that how fast they're doing that exercise. Now with a rower, there isn't really a down phase and an up phase because it's a cardio exercise. So we don't need tempo for rower. So just put like a dash. Like you still have to put something in there, but just put a dash.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah. Cool. All right. So then we're going to move into our rest now. What's the rest going to be after they finish a 5-minute row? What's our rest going to be before they start their leg swings, do you think?
Oh, sorry, Leon, can you please say that again?
Yeah. So with our rest, how much rest would you give her before she moves into her leg swings? Would you give her any rest, or
probably just like 20 seconds, sip on water, just go over to the wall and
sweet. Awesome. So let's put in our rest. Let's put in 20 seconds. That's fantastic, man.
Cool as.
All right. And now in our intensity, now there's many different ways that we can, or there's actually 3 different ways that we can write intensity. So intensity can be written as what we call an RPE score, which is rate of perceived exertion, which is what the client feels that they're working at. So it's a score out of 10. Yeah. And it's probably the easiest way to kind of set intensity for our clients. The second way we can do it is through percentage of heart rate. So we can say, all right, we want you to work at like 50% of your max, or we want you to work at 70% of your max. That's another easy way. The third way is percentage of 1 RM, which is when we're doing strength exercises, we put a percentage in there. So it's like, all right, normally you can lift 100 kilos. So that's 100%. But we want you to lift at at 60%. So then client can look at that and say, okay, well, if my max is 100 kilos, 60% is going to be 60 kilos. So it's a kind of an easier way for them to understand what weight. We don't want to actually give them, we want you to lift 60 kilos. We always use percentages because, we're not with the client, so we don't know what they are actually lifting. That's why if we give percentages or we give an RPE score, it makes it easier for the client to make that decision themselves. All right. So we're going to use RPE today because it's one that I really want you to get used to, and one that I would highly recommend that we use throughout the whole program. So if you think of RPE, if one was, really, really, really easy, and 10 was like, oh, I can't go any harder. Yep. What do you think this warm up should be out of 10?
I think probably a 4 or a 5, because it's 100%. Just like warming up, like getting the joints moving. And
you've nailed that. So yeah, definitely anywhere between a 4 and a 5, but you have to pick one. You can't.
Okay. We will go 5.
5. So let's put 5 RPE there.
Okay, 5.
Awesome. All right, perfect. So now we're going to move into our other exercises. So for these dynamic stretches, I recommend 2 sets. So let's just put 2 sets for each one. We're going to go through it twice.
Yep.
All right, now with our reps, I recommend 10 each side. So like a leg swing, crucifix, thread the needle, and crab walks, they're all exercises where you have to do the left side and then the right side. So I would recommend 10 each side. So to do 10 each side, if you do 10 and then put E/S. So like, let me put that in for you so you can see what I mean. So E/S. So that, if we see that in a program, we know that it means 10 each side. Sweet. So let's put that down for each one of those exercises, because with these exercises, we've got to do the left side and the right side. So 10 ES is how we want to put that in. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
All right, so with tempo now. Now with leg swing, there's an up phase, and there's a down phase. There's no really pause in the middle, which is cool. But the way we do tempo is in three numbers. So with a leg swing, you think it's going to take 1 second to swing a leg up. There isn't a pause at the top, so it's 0. And then it's 1 second to bring our leg back down again. So the way that we'd put that in there, let me put it in there for you, is 1.
Yep.
0.1. So that tells the client it's going to take 1 second to swing the leg up, no pause, 1 second down. And that's the tempo they've got to go at. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, so think of crucifix. If you're laying on your back, how long does it take you to get your left leg across, to your right side of your body? Like, how fast should you be doing that?
It's probably be more like 2 seconds.
I agree. So let's put 2 seconds to the first number. How long do you hold that stretch for before you bring it back around? Do you don't hold it at all, or do you leave it there for a bit and then come back?
Normally, I'll just like touch the ground with my kind of foot, then start the other side.
Yep. So you're saying
personally, that's how I would do it. Yeah.
Yeah, sweet. So put a no pause. That's great. Yeah.
Cool.
And then would you say it's 2 seconds to obviously come back and change legs?
Yeah, I would.
Perfect. Awesome. All right, next one, thread the needle. So if you think about it, your starting position is with your arm underneath your body. Okay, so if your arm's underneath your body, how many seconds does it take for you to rotate all the way up so your arm's up facing the ceiling?
About 3 seconds is probably.
Yeah, I reckon about 3 seconds. Yeah, awesome. Okay, there is definitely a pause up here, because that's what we're doing. We're stretching through our thoracic spine. So how long are you going to hold that stretch up facing the ceiling before you come back down again?
2 seconds.
Cool, I like it. Yeah, awesome. And then 3 seconds to come back under. Awesome.
Sweet.
All right, then with our crab walk. So if our crab walk, we step out, we hold, then we step back in. So it's, for me, it's like a 1 second out, a 1 second pause, a 1 second back in. So a 1-1-1 tempo.
Yeah. Cool.
Cool. Nice, man. All right. Are we going to give our clients rest periods in between each set and then in between each exercise?
I feel like it's when you could probably just get through it, just going through the motions.
Yeah,
Uh,
I agree. So let's just put a dash. We don't need a rest for those.
okay, cool.
Just put a dash for each one. Awesome. Perfect, man. We're doing really well. All right. Then what's our RPE for those?
Okay, RPE. Oh, for leg swing. So because leg swings aren't too hard, it's kind of more just like momentum.
Yeah.
Would you rate it somewhere like really low?
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Yeah.
I'd even go 1 or 2.
100%. Perfect. Awesome. Yep.
I'll just put in 2 RPE because they might be from the roll.
It's really important that you always put in RPE into it. I know it's a bit of a pain in the ass and a hassle, but if you just put a 5, yeah, you'll get this program back to you and it'll be comment saying like, what is the intensity because you haven't put RPE. So make sure you always, if you're using RPE scoring, you always put RPE at the end of it. Cool.
Yeah.
Nice, man. All right, thread the needle. What's our thread the needle? 1 RPE, nice. And then our crab walks. What's that?
I reckon crabs could probably be up to 3.
3, cool. Nice, man. I'm really liking this warm up. Perfect, great stuff. Okay, we're going to move into the main body now. Now, with the main body, remember focusing on those things that we spoke about. She's a semi-professional tennis player, so we have to think about, okay, what are the main movements for tennis? She's in her off season. So that's cool. She's not in season, so or she's not in her pre-season, so we're not smashing her, but she's in her off season, so that's cool. She wants to maintain conditioning, but her main focus is improve her lower body strength. Okay, so that's obviously what we're going to work on. And she wants to train with friends, so we've got to kind of keep that in mind as well. That if we are training with friends, that this program can be done, with a group of friends and not just something that she does by herself. So for me, I would be thinking, okay, I'll probably create a circuit for her, because if you put a circuit together, she could bring 1 friend along, she could bring 5 friends along, and they could just rotate through the circuit. You know what I mean? So she could kind of do this. So let's do a circuit as a program for her to kind of focus on. So if we're thinking of running programs up, my rule of thumb, again, this is just my thing, all right? But my thing, I've always had a rule that you have to earn the right to do upper body. And what I mean by that is, and more so, you have to earn the right to do chest. Now, everyone goes to the gym and everyone can see what they look like in front of the mirror. So everyone always goes to the gym, especially males, and just go straight to the bench press, straight to the chest machine, whatever, because then they like look at themselves in the mirror and they like, feeling good about themselves. So my rule is you got to earn the right to be able to do that. So to earn the right, you have to always start with legs. And the reason why I start with legs is that, our quadriceps and our glutes are the 2 biggest muscle groups in our body. Yeah. And we have natural testosterone, within these muscle groups, within all our muscles, that release throughout our body if we are using them to their full potential, and we're pushing them to their full potential. So for me, I'm like, well, I want to get that, flowing through my body as quickly as possible, because then I'm lifting heavier and I'm getting more gains, and I'm improving more. So we're going to always start with some leg exercises. Now, especially with this client Rebecca, because she wants to improve her legs, but let's definitely start with legs. So, tennis players, what do you think a really good exercise could be to start off with for a semi-professional tennis player?
Ooh, that's probably where I get a little bit confused, because I'm not too sure if how tennis players train and stuff like that? I know for league it's a lot of power, a lot of squatting, a lot of
And it would be very similar for tennis. When you think of tennis is a power game, yeah.
yeah,
And so for you, it's not about like we don't have to do like the you know specific kind of, or with tennis, you do this action, so we're going to do exercise to improve that action. You know what I mean? But as a Cert 3 qualified trainer, you're just looking at what are the fundamental movements of a tennis player, and how can we help you achieve your goals of improving your lower body strength, especially for Rebecca. So a squat is a great place to start, mate. Awesome.
yeah.
So if let's put in a back squat as our first exercise.
Okay, cool.
Great exercise to start off with. So a back squat is what we call a lower body push, yeah, because that's a push exercise.
Yeah.
Right? So we want to now do a lower body pull exercise. So what's an exercise where we're pulling with our lower body, do you think?
Probably. I would like a Romanian like deadlift, like for your
Perfect, man. Awesome, great exercise, Romanian deadlift. Well, great work. That could be our next one. All right, what third exercise? All right, because our client wants to kind of improve or maintain her cardiovascular fitness, what could be an exercise that we could throw in that is still working her lower body, but it's also like a cardio exercise as well?
Yeah. Not too sure actually.
So I'm thinking of maybe something like, maybe like a box jump, or maybe like kettlebell swings,
yeah,
or maybe some like walking lunges. Like you don't have a heavy weight, but you're just doing some high reps.
Yeah, I would. I like walking lunges.
Walking lunges, perfect, awesome. All right, so now let's go into some. We've really kind of smashed the legs there. Let's go into some upper body movement. So, before we move into chest, we got to earn the right. So we've got to do some back exercises. So what's maybe a good back exercise that we could do?
Because it's a circuit, are we still like going to be able to put machines in there, or is it kind of more free weight stuff? Or
No, we can definitely put machines in, 100%. No dramas there at all.
I like the cable rows are.
Cable row is a good one. Cable row is a great one. So let's put cable row in there for exercise 4. Great. All right, exercise number 5. So let's do our chest exercise now. Now, a female client, it is extremely hard to get a female client to do bench press.
Yeah.
With a barbell. They're happy to do bench press with dumbbells, but you tell them to go do a bench press with barbell, they're like, no, I'm not doing it. Sweet. So let's think of, we're going to think about our client. It's a female client. So we're probably not going to prescribe her a barbell bench press because she's not going to feel comfortable doing it. So what are some other ways that we could do a chest exercise with this client?
So there was the dumbbell bench, which you said, but probably with tennis, because there's a lot of like, having your shoulder or your arms away from your body, maybe like even a what's it called? Dumbbell flies, maybe.
Dumbbell flies, yeah, great exercise.
Or if you're looking for more push,
yeah.
Maybe even like woman push-ups.
Yeah, we don't call them woman push-ups. We call them push-ups on knees.
Push-ups on knees, yeah.
So I'm probably thinking, for me, I'm thinking, right, I want to try and do a bit more what we call functional, so a bit more like an exercise that is going to kind of help her with her tennis as well. And as you were saying before, with tennis, we've got our we've got to build our strength and the stability in our shoulder. So even I want to try and make it a bit more interesting, a bit more fun. So I'm really thinking about doing push-ups with a medicine ball. And when you've got one hand on the medicine ball, one hand, you'll push up, and then you roll the medicine ball to the other hand, and then you back to the other hand, do a push-up, and then you roll it back. So something a little bit different like that just adds a little bit of variety to the session. and makes it a little bit more interesting than just the same boring stuff over and over again.
Yeah.
So let's put in for exercise number 5. Let's put in a medicine ball alternate arm push-up.
Okay. Medicine ball.
Alternate medicine ball push-up. Awesome. All right, and then let's go exercise number 6. Let's do again a bit of a lower body cardio exercise. It's really going to improve the client. It's going to be strength, but also power, but also cardio as well. And what I'm thinking is like a sled push.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So let's go sled push.
Cool.
All right, so that's going to be our circuit. All right, does that make sense?
Yeah.
Now, after our circuit, we're going to leave where it's got like exercise 7. So leave that as a free row. Come down to exercise 8, and we're going to do once she does her circuit, we're going to do like a top up of cardio. So we're going to do like a bit of a cardio blowout. So what do you think we could do for a bit of a cardio blowout just to finish off the session?
Depending on what like a gym has, I find that I like rowing. I find the assault bikes to be pretty good if a gym has an assault bike.
Yeah, awesome. So again, my rule, again, it's just a rule. You don't have to follow it, but my rule is that if you do an exercise in a warm-up, don't do it in the main body, because
exactly.
Add a bit more variety to the program. So because we've done the rower in the warm-up, let's do the assault bike for
her. Okay, cool.
Yeah. This is great, mate. Awesome. So that's our program, man. That's what we're going to go through. So let's move to sets now.
Cool.
All right. So what do you think? How many sets would you take her through her circuit? Don't worry about the assault bike at the moment. Let's just look at those exercises that we've put in for a circuit. How many times would you like her to go through that?
4 times.
4 times. I like it, mate. I like it. So let's put 4 sets in for each one.
Cool.
All right. Now, this is where we're going to, I'm going to teach you something here. So one of the big things in industry at the moment, it's all about what we call rep variation. So in the old, like back when I first started doing PT, it was like, right, 4 sets of 10, 4 sets of 12, 4 sets of 8, 4 sets of 6. So it was very like basic and very simple, where now people, again, want more variety in their program. And we use what we call rep variation to add variety, but at the same time, it's to help, push our client so that they're doing their best. So what I mean by rep variation is that if we say 4 sets, then each rep for each set is going to be different. So what I mean by that is like set 1, with strength, we spoke about strength is anywhere between 4 to 6, 4 to 6 reps. Okay, so we want to build strength here. So we might say set 1 is going to be 6.
Yeah.
Set 2 is going to be 5. Set 3, is going to be 4, and then our last we're going to move back to 6 again. All right. So then the client sees that and goes, all right, sweet. So we've got the first set's going to be reps of 6. Second set's going to be a rep of 5. Third set's going to be a rep of 4. Last one's going to be a rep of 6. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what we call rep variation. We can also do it this way. If we don't want to do it that way, it might look a little bit confusing. You might just go 6, 5, 4, 6. Cool. And so
gotcha.
It looks a little bit clearer. So let's do it. Let's do the rep variation that way. All right. So that's our Romanian. That's for our back squat. What would you put in now for your Romanian deadlift?
I would probably go similar structure to the back squat in terms of like rep variation.
Cool, let's put it in. So let's go 6, 5, 4, 6.
4, 6.
Now with our next exercise, our walking lunges, we had that in there as a cardio exercise, not a strength exercise. So we're going to have some higher reps here. So what we're going to put in for the walking lunges as our higher reps?
I would go 6 each side.
6 each side. I'd probably even go a little bit higher, man.
Oh yeah. So
Let's pretend these walking lunges are with no weight. So she's just doing body
oh,
weight walking lunges. How many would you get her to do?
probably could get even 10 each
Yeah,
side.
I agree. Let's just go 10 each side. And we won't have rep variation for that one. We'll just have every time she does that, she has to do 10 each side.
Okay, cool.
Okay, so coming down to cable row. What are we going to do for cable row? We'll put some rep variation in here. So what could we do? Sorry, just go back. Sorry to cut you off there, but she hasn't said that she wants to improve her strength in her upper body, just her lower body. So we don't have to, if you don't want to, we don't have to do strength repetitions here. We could increase them a little bit.
Yeah.
But if you wanted to do strength, you could. But just know that you're not I guess bound to doing strength for the whole session. She just wants to improve strength in the lower body. So yeah. That in mind, what would you do here?
So that's probably what I have a question for you is like in terms of like rep variations, if you're looking just to like maintain or get, not really gain too much strength, what like kind of rep variation would you be sitting at, like higher reps, lower weight, or?
Yeah, so to build strength, we're around that 4 to 6. To build muscle, we're kind of up around that 8 to 12.
Yeah.
And to build a little bit of lean muscle, but more muscular endurance, it's like anything above like 15 reps would be.
Oh, okay.
So for me, I'm thinking a tennis player needs a lot of muscular endurance, and but at the same time, like hypertrophy, building muscle is also very important too. So you can kind of sit within that 8 to 15 reps, I reckon, with these exercises. So anywhere between there, man, I reckon would be cool. So
yeah,
you tell me, because there's no right or wrong. You tell me.
Yeah. We will go 10 or maybe 12 reps for the first set.
12 reps? I like it. Yeah, cool. Nice. 12 reps.
Maybe I would probably go 10 for the next one.
Yeah.
Then probably 8 and then 12.
8 and 12. Awesome, man. Well done. All right, let's move it down to our alternate medicine ball push-ups. What will we do here?
Medicine ball push-ups. So I would go. Is this still doing the alternating like number of reps? Do you reckon?
Yeah.
And would you word it like say 6 each side? Or?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Probably 6 each side for the first set.
Yeah.
Probably 6. Then is it okay to go like up in the next kind of round of the circuit?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
I would probably go because it's more like a body weight, so you kind of get warmed up to it. So then 8 each side. 8 each side again. And then probably 6.
Nice. Awesome, man. I like it. All right, now we've got sled push. Hard. Again?
I know for me, those medicine ball push-ups are hard.
Yeah, they are. All right, so moving to our sled push now. So our sled push would be more like meters. So how far we're going to push this sled. So, majority of gyms might have like a sled track between like 15 to 20 meters. So let's just put 20. Let's just say that the gym that we're at has a 20-meter sled track. So let's just put 20 m for 20 meters as how fast you got to push this sled. Awesome. All right, so let's go back up to the top now. Back up to our back squat. We've put in our reps and our sets. Now we're going to put in tempo. So with tempo, with our strength exercises, it's always 2 1 1. So 2 seconds down, 1 second pause, 1 second up. So that's the tempo that you want to be working at when you're working on strength. So with our first 2 exercises, because we're working on strength, let's stick to the 2 1 1 tempo. So 2 1 1 will be our tempo for our back squat, and 2-1-1 will be our tempo for our Romanian deadlifts. Now, our walking lunges is a cardio exercise as well as a strength. So we want to be quick. So let's do a 1-1-1. So 1 second down, 1 second pause, 1 second up. So a 1-1-1.
Yeah.
Same with our cable row. It's more of a quicker exercise. Let's do a 1-1-1.
Yeah.
Alternate medicine ball push-ups, the same, a bit of a cardio, but strength exercise. So let's do a 1-1-1. And our sled push wouldn't need a tempo because we're not actually doing a down phase, a pause phase, and an up phase. It's just obviously pushing a sled, so we don't need anything for that one. Now coming up to our rest. Now this was something that we spoke about in our session at the start of the week, and I don't know if you did it or not, but just to rehash what we spoke about. One of the biggest areas that we don't, I guess, focus on enough is rest.
Yeah.
And so, rest is extremely important to make sure that we're maximizing our efforts in the gym. For strength, they recommend, the minimum is 90 seconds. Yeah. So, but anywhere like up to 3 minutes. If you've got the time, you should rest for that long, because then you can maximize, your effort when doing the exercise. But for most people, they don't have that time to sit around in the gym. Okay, so we always recommend the minimum, which is 90 seconds. So let's put 90 seconds rest for our back squat.
Yeah.
Again, let's put 90 seconds rest again for our Romanian deadlift. Now with our walking lunges, it's a bit more of a cardio exercise, so we can really drop that rest down. So what would we do in between our deadlift and our walking once we have our 90 seconds rest and then go into our walking lunge, what would be our rest between our walking lunge and our cable machine, do you think?
I could even say, like, you could go straight into it, because walking lunges don't really work the same muscles as a cable row.
No, I agree, but we always want to put some sort of time frame to it. So it's like all right, we've got, even if it's only just 10 seconds to get to the exercise. You know what I mean?
Okay, so, I would say even 30 seconds.
Sweet, 30 seconds is a good one. Nice, 30 seconds is sweet.
Just so catch their breath and stuff.
Yeah. All right, then we've got our cable row. So how long are we going to do for cable row? How much rest?
We will do 30 seconds again.
Yep. Our medicine ball push-ups.
Medicine ball, 30 seconds.
Yep, cool. And then our sled push.
And then sled push, I reckon. So sled push, that would obviously link back to the back squat.
Yeah. So we want to kind of have a bit more of a rest, because we want to be recovered before we get back into our strength.
90 seconds.
Yeah, cool, man. I like it. Awesome. Good stuff. Good stuff. All right, coming up now to our intensity. So because these exercises are with weight, we can put a percentage of 1RM on there if we wanted to. We could leave it at RPE. But for this example, let's just do percentage of 1RM. So, with strength, our percentage, for strength, anywhere between kind of, 75 to 90% is what we would kind of be at.
Yeah.
Because our reps are going to change, we want to either increase or decrease her percentage so that it matches the reps that she's doing. Now, what I mean by that is that for the first exercise of 6, that's quite high. So we might have it as like a 75% of 1RM. So it's like, all right, so my first one of 6, I'm at 75. The next one at 5, I've dropped the reps down. So let's increase the percentage. Let's go to 80%. 1RM. Cool.
Yeah.
Third one, we're going to drop it down even more. All right, so sweet. So 4, so let's go to 85%. So we can see here that when the client's looking at this, they know that each round they've got to put more weight on.
Yeah.
Yeah. The last one, at a 6, we've kind of bumped our reps back up, but we're hoping that the client, has been working. So we're not going to drop it back down to 70. We might put it back to 80 though. So her last round, she can take some weight off.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's how we kind of put that in. All right.
Yeah.
We can use that same one for our Romanian deadlifts because we've kind of used the same reps anyway.
Yeah.
Now with her walking lunges, because it's just going to be body weight, we would have to go back to RPE. And because we've only got one round here, we can, we're just going to put in one RPE. So what's going to be our RPE? How hard are these walking lunges going to be out of 10?
Is that like considering like the fatigue already kind of, or?
No, or just look at this exercise by itself. So how hard do we want her to be working with these walking lunges? If 10 means that she can't do it can't go any harder, and 1 is like super easy.
I'll probably say about a 6 or 7.
Yeah, cool, awesome. Yeah, either one of those is good, man.
Yeah, we'll go 7. Just
7 RPE, perfect. All right, back to our cable. Now with our cable, because we're doing like some higher reps here, we're obviously going to bring that percentage right down. So that first set of 12, what do you think the percentage of 1RM would be?
Probably 50%.
Yeah, cool. I like it. 50% is a good one. Yeah. All right, then we're going to go down to 10. So we can put up that percentage now. So what could be the second set?
60%.
Yeah, cool. And then we're going to go to 8. So what's our, we could even bump it up a little bit more because we're down to 8. What could it be?
Yeah, probably, you think 75?
Yeah, 100%. Go to 5. Yeah, nice. Make it work. And then 12. So we're going to probably bring that percentage back down again. So what could it be?
I would probably say 55.
All right, cool. I like it. Nice, mate. All right, now our alternate medicine ball push-ups. Again, we'll go back to RPE because there's no weight with this. It's a body weight movement. So what do you think, as a whole,
Yeah.
what do you reckon the RPE would be for this exercise as a whole? We don't have to do it differently for each set. Just as a whole, what do you think it would be?
I would say a 7.
Yeah, 7 or 8, definitely. It's a hard exercise. So awesome.
I would actually even go 8 because, yeah.
All right, and then to finish off our sled push for our circuit, again, an RPE score. How hard do you think they're going to be working here?
I would say 7.
7? Awesome. 7 RPE, cool. All right, so once we finish that circuit, we come to our assault bike. So what are we going to do for our assault bike? How many rounds are we going to do with the assault bike?
Do you think 4 is too much?
No, I reckon 4 would be cool, definitely.
Yeah, I reckon match it with the circuit.
Yeah, cool. And then how long is she going for? Like, what's her time? Is it going to be a meters thing? She has to do like so many meters. Is it calories? Is it time? What would it be for her rep?
I like the idea of having a look at calories, but then I forget what's like kind of how long it takes to burn calories on an assault bike and stuff. Like what's actually a good target on?
Yeah, man. Man, this shows my age. When I like calories is quite a new kind of concept to look at. And I never was taught calories either. I was always taught either time or meters. So I don't know calories as well as time and meters. So I can't help you out there, but I do know a little bit about it. But like with an assault bike, around like 20 calories would be a good kind of. It might take you maybe like 45 seconds, a minute to
yeah, I think something around that would be like 4 rounds of that or something would be.
Yeah, cool, sweet. So whatever you want to put in there, mate, is there's no right or wrong there.
Okay, cool. So in the rep section, would you put down like 20 calories.
Yep. Awesome. So she's gonna do 4 rounds of 20 calories. Because it's a cardio exercise, there's no tempo. How much rest is she going to get in between each set?
We will do 45 seconds.
Awesome, 45 seconds. And then to finish off with our intensity, we're gonna use the last way that we can, the third way that we can represent intensity, and that's going to be percentage of maximum heart rate. So if her maximum heart rate is 100%, how hard, if you had a heart rate monitor on her, how hard do you want how high do you want her heart rate to go to as an average?
I would,
knowing on this ad, knowing that to improve cardio, it's got to be above 70.
Yeah.
So we want it at least above 70.
Yeah, I was thinking more 80.
80, cool. Let's put 80% MHR in capital letters, which stands for maximum heart rate.
Okay. Cool. So there's the heart rate, RPE, and the 1R.
Yeah, and just put an M there too. So you got to put MHR. All right,
Oh,
so
yeah.
Heart rate.
Mm.
Cool, man. So that's our program. Now, have you got any questions about that?
No, it all seems pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We spend a lot of time on this, buddy, because this is the bread and butter program.
Yeah.
Is really important to understand. Now, when you're putting a program together in this course, doesn't matter what program you're putting together, it has to be a minimum of 6 exercises. If it's not 6 exercises, then the program will be marked wrong unless it tells you otherwise. Unless in the instructions, it tells you to put a program together with 4 exercises. But if it doesn't, you always have to put a minimum of 6. The program card that we give you will give you 10 that you can put in, but minimum of 6. So we're putting 7 here, so that's great. We're on the right track. All right. So we've done a warm up. We've done the main body. Let's move down to our cool down now. So our cool down, again, the idea of a cool down is to bring the client's heart rate after they've just worked really hard, back down to as close as their resting heart rate as possible. All right. So the best way to bring a client's heart rate down is by having them lay on their back on the floor. So for me, I think, all right, if the idea of a cool down is to bring a client's heart rate down, what's the best way to do that? It's laying on the floor. How can I mix those two things together, but still don't just make the client just lay there, because that's not what they're there for. So for me, what I do is I always do core. So my cool down will always involve core, because they're laying on their back, so they're going to be cooling down. But at the same time, core is really important. Everyone needs to improve their core. So I mix the two together. So we're going to pick 3 core exercises that we can do where we have the client laying on their back. Now, a plank isn't laying on your back, so we wouldn't choose plank as a cool down exercise. If you wanted to do plank, you would have that in the main body. But for our cool down exercises, we want to choose exercises where they're laying on their back and doing core exercises laying down. So what are some laying on back core exercises that we could do?
I'm not actually too sure. I know laying down on the back, maybe like not too sure if like a hamstring, double leg, like hamstring bridge is like a cool down.
Yes, that's not so much working on core. That's more working on
more hands.
So maybe a really cool core exercise we can do when you lay on your back. When you tuck your knees up to your chest, and then you bring your legs out straight in front of you, but they're like 6 inches off the ground.
Yeah.
Tuck them back into your chest.
That's right. Yeah.
So I call them leg rollouts. So let's put down rollouts exercise number 1. Another one is we can then bring our legs up facing the ceiling and push our legs up and back down again. All right. So I call them reverse crunches. So you understand what I mean by that? Where you're pushing them up to the sky and then back down again off the ground. So reverse crunches. And then with our legs up there, we can move them to the left and move them to the right to work our obliques as well. So I call that clockwork, because you move it to like 11 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 11 o'clock, 3 o'clock kind of thing.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're on the same page. All right, great. So again, let's just do 2 rounds of that. So 2 reps. Let's just do 10, 2 sets, 10 reps. Yeah, for each one. With our rollouts with the tempo. So I'm thinking 2 seconds out, 1 second pause, 2 seconds back. So a 2-1-1. With our reverse crunch, just 1 second up, no pause, 1 second down. So 1-0-1.
1-0-1.
And then our clockwork, if we go from left, like across to right, so we might go like 2 seconds across, no pause, 2 seconds back. So maybe like a 2-0-2. Let's just say 30 seconds rest in between each exercise.
Yeah.
And let's just give this an RPE around about a 4 RPE, because it's still quite hard, because they're still working hard on their core.
Yeah.
It's not the idea is obviously them cooling down, getting their heart rate down. So we don't want them to work too hard. So let's give it a 4. Now to finish off flexibility. Now flexibility, it's extremely important. Never ever let a client leave without doing some sort of stretching.
Yeah.
There are 3 muscles in our body where majority of people are tight. So when I put a program together, I don't care what I've just done in the program. I always get them to focus on these 3 stretches. So the first one is a hamstring stretch. So let's put that down for exercise number 1. The second one is a hip flexor stretch. Yeah, we sit down too much in life, which makes our hip flexors really tight. So we want to get our hip in extension. So the hip flexor stretch is a really good one. The last one is a pec stretch. Yeah, and a chest stretch. So, but probably the easiest one to do is what we call a doorway pec stretch, where we just have our arm up against the wall and rotate around.
Yeah.
Yeah, sweet. Okay, so let's just go through that 2 times as well. Minimum a hold is for 30 seconds. So 2 times of 30 seconds. And that's it. We don't have to put in tempo. We don't have to put in rest. We don't have to put in RPE for intensity for stretching. We just have to put for those 2 columns.
Yeah.
Great stuff, mate. Really good program, really good start. Is that making sense to you as well?
Yeah, it is. It is definitely, yeah.
Definitely. Cool. All right. So let's now scroll back up to the top of the program where it's got equipment required. And I want you to write down now we've written the program out, what are all the main equipment that we will need and required for this for this program. So think about the warm up. We've got a rower, so we need a row machine.
Yeah. Rower.
Nothing. Crucifix, maybe like a yoga mat. Thread the needle, again, probably a yoga mat. So we've already got yoga mats, so you have to row it twice. Crab walks, we would need a band. So you've got rower as number 1. We've got a yoga mat as number 2. We've got bands for the crab walk as number 3.
Yeah.
All right, moving to our main body now, we've got a back squat. So we would need obviously a squat rack. We would need Olympic bar, and we would need weight plates. All right, Romanian deadlift. So we're going to need an Olympic bar again. So go back up to Olympic bar and put like 2 times. So we know we need 2 Olympic bars.
Okay, cool. 2 times.
Sweet. We need weight plates. So we've already got weight plates. So that's cool. All right. After that, we've got walking lunges. So we've said that's body weight exercise. So we don't need any equipment for that.
Okay.
The next one is our cable row. So we need a cable row machine. Next one is alternative medicine ball push-ups. So we're going to need a medicine ball. We're going to do a sled push. So we're going to need a sled. All right. With our core, we're going to need a yoga mat. So we've already got a yoga mat. So that's cool. Leave it. And then with our stretches, we're going to need yoga mats. So we've already got that. So that's all the equipment we're going to need for this session. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. Sweet. Awesome. Oh, what happened?
Oh, I'm not.
Just press on there.
Yeah.
All right, so let's move down now to this, what we call our comments or our justification on why we wrote the program up. So, you know, number one thing for our justification, like obviously we're going to break it up to the warm up, to the main body, and cool down. So what we can write for justification for our warm up is that we can say, so let's say our warm up is broken up into 2 stages.
Okay.
So stage 1 is a cardio exercise to promote blood flow to muscles.
Stage 1 is a cardio exercise to promote
blood flow to muscles, increase heart rate, and elevate core body temperature. Full stop. And then we'll say stage 2 is dynamic movements to stimulate the nervous system. So that's what dynamic movements do. We stimulate the nervous system. We're getting our nerves working, and those messages from our muscles to our brain to our muscles really firing. Cool. So that's all right. Perfect. So that's our warm up. Our main body. So our main body is broken up into a circuit with 6 exercises. So a circuit with 6 exercises and like a cardio, let's just call it a cardio blowout to finish off the session. All right. So why did we do circuit? Do you remember why I said we did a circuit?
Just in case there's a friend involved.
Perfect. Awesome. I'm going to say that. So the reason why we chose to do a circuit is because our client said that she wants to train it for friends. Awesome. Now the exercises that we've chosen. Why do we choose the exercise that we've chosen? So we're going to say the exercise that we've chosen are focusing on improving the client's lower body strength. And this was the main goal of the client. So pull that down. We also wanted to improve muscular endurance in her upper body. And this was because obviously with her playing tennis, that's why we thought that was important. And then the other thing is that we've thrown in some, combination of cardio and lower body exercises because she wants to maintain her cardiovascular fitness. So that's why we threw in some cardio exercise, like some, cross training with the lunges and the sled push.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then to finish off, we also, to kind of back that up with the cardio is that we finished off with an assault bike kind of round, again, just to ensure that the client is maintaining her cardiovascular fitness, which is again another goal of hers.
There's combination of cardio. I think that's all sweet.
Cool. Awesome. All right, and now we're going to finish off our last paragraph. It's going to talk about the cool down and the stretching. So we're going to say that we've chosen cool down, like core exercises for a cool down.
Okay.
As this will help her decrease her resting heart rate.
Sorry, Leon, what was the reasoning for?
Because we want to decrease her resting heart rate. So we've chosen to cool down to do core exercises so that she's decreasing her resting heart rate. And then the stretches that we've chosen for a cool down are typically muscles that are tight in every client. So we wanted to make sure that we're stretching these typically tight muscles.
Okay. So the stretches we have chosen for cool down is typically?
Are typically muscles that are tight in clients, and therefore we've chosen to complete these exercises, these stretches in a cool down. All right, and awesome, man, and that's your program done. Now, obviously that's taken us quite a long time to get through all that, which is normal, and it's not like that we've done it too slow. But our goal is to, that took us a good, bit over an hour.
Yeah.
Our goal is over time to bring that right down so that it's taking you no longer than like 20 minutes to get to write up a program.
Yeah.
Okay, so the more you do it, the more practice you have, the better you'll get at that. But again, any questions before we move on to the other?
Oh, that's good. I think it was good we took the time because it's quite simple once you get the hang of it. So
Yeah, 100%, 100%. And use this as a template. Okay, so
yeah, exactly.
just to recap, all right, with our warm up, we always fill out the 5 exercises. Our first exercise is a cardio exercise. Exercise 2, 3, 4, and 5. We're going to look at some dynamic exercises. With our main body, focusing on what the client's goal is really important. Making it a little bit different. We don't always want it to be like the same boring program. People want variety. So adding things like rep variation is key. Making sure that all these variables are filled out. So sets, reps, tempo, rest, and intensity, everything's got to be filled out. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
With our cool down, the idea of our cool down is to bring the client's heart rate down. My go-to is core. You don't have to do core if you don't want to, but my go-to is core. But making sure that you're filling out all 3 exercises here for your cool down, and then you're filling out all exercises here for your flexibility. Make sure that everyone forgets to put in their required equipment. So make sure you're always putting in the equipment, and also making sure that we're writing a justification down the bottom. Sweet.
Gotcha.
Awesome. All right. Let me get our slides back up, and and we'll keep moving through today's session. So
cool.
All right. So moving on to question 1.2 now. We're looking at here reflecting on the session you wrote in 1.1 and the justification that we've put through together as well. We've got to justify how we've catered for the following. All right. So the first thing here is our aerobic curve, our pulse rate. So how have we with this session? Well, firstly, obviously, let's just talk about what an aerobic curve is. So aerobic curve is how we've gone, like how we've slowly increased the client's heart rate to its peak, and then how we've brought that back down again. So that's what our aerobic curve is. Cool. So in this session, what have we done to slowly increase our client's heart rate? At what point do you think it's going to be at its peak? And then how are we bringing that client's heart rate down? So we're going to kind of explain that. So let's just talk about it to start off with. What do you think? How have we kind of, I guess, managed the pulse rate of our client?
So with our warm up, it's obviously just a warm up, so it's starting quite easy, getting the body moving. But then once we get into the main program, there's a lot less like rest time in between a few of them. So the heart rate, it will definitely get harder between there. And then we bring it down with the cool down and like you said, on the back.
Yeah. Perfect. It's perfect. So with our pulse rate, we can say here that we're gradually going to warm our client up within their warm up. Yeah. So then what we're doing with our main body is that we're slowly every round, we're picking up the intensity.
Okay.
Yeah. So therefore that the peak of this session, for me, I feel is going to be the last round of the circuit, right? Is going to be where the hardest part of this session is going to be because they're going to be fatigued. Yeah, we've picked it up every round and made it harder, lifting heavier weights. Yeah, so the peak for me is going to be that last round. That last sled push is going to be where the absolute peak is going to be for me for this session. So let's say that we're expecting the client to be at their peak heart rate, for the last set of the last round, or where we're doing our last exercise of the circle, which is the sled push.
Okay. And the last set of the last round.
Yeah, of the sled push.
Of the sled push. Okay.
Yeah.
Sled push.
Awesome. And then how we've brought that back down in the cool down is that where we've got the client doing some core exercises on their back, which is going to help bring the heart rate down. Cool, awesome. So that's how we've looked at our pulse rate curve throughout the session. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense.
So now we're going to go into a little bit more detail here within the main body. So we're going to try and work out kind of like how the client's pulse rate's going to go up and down, within the main body of the session. So obviously, let's look at the exercises. Exercise number 1 and 2 are some strength-based exercises. Now, when we're doing strength-based exercises, realistically, our heart rate's not that high. Would you agree?
Yeah.
Yeah, because we're having a lot of rest.
Yeah.
We are working hard when we're lifting, but our heart rate's not, and heart rate's not.
Yeah.
Like,
90 seconds.
Yeah. So for our first two exercises, our heart rate, what do you reckon our heart rate would sit at on average? What do you think?
Probably maybe about a 50%.
Yeah.
Yeah, I reckon about you're pushing hard, but
maybe like 50%. So our heart rate's going to be around about 50 to 60% for the first two exercises. Then we're going to move to our walking lunges, where it's going to peak up. Yeah, it's definitely going to spike. So it might spike up to maybe like 75, 80%. Then for our next two exercises, but the first one's a seated row, where we're actually sitting down. So our heart rate's going to come right back down again to probably around that 50% again, because we're on a seated row, and we're probably going to get a bit of recovery doing that seated row. Then we're going to move to an exercise which is going to be quite hard, which is going to be our alternate arm push-ups. So it's probably then again going to peak back up to around that 75%. Is this making sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we said our next exercise after that is going to be our sled push. So again, it's going to probably even peak a little bit higher up to like 50%. So can you see how it's like it starts, quite moderate, peaks up, drop backs down, peaks back up again, and stays up there until we start our next round. Like you said, that's how our phase of our workout, and that's how it's going to work. Is this making sense? Cool.
Yeah.
So, all right. So for our answer, we're just going to put that down. So in our main body, our aerobic starts low for our first two exercises, and then it'll kind of peak for our third exercise. Then it will drop back down to low for our fourth exercise. It'll then peak up again for our fifth and sixth exercise. And then to finish off the session with our blowout, our seventh exercise, it's going to be obviously at peak, because we want the client working hard to get a good cardio blowout to finish off.
Okay.
So if we were to look at our client's like heart rate graph at the end of the session, this is what we want to see. These peak and troughs. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
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 So now we want to look at how our client's heart rate is going to come back down when we're doing our cool down.
Yeah.
Yeah. So obviously our client's heart rate is going to be quite high at the end of the assault bike. And then with our client laying on the ground doing their core exercises, it's going to really dramatically drop the client's heart rate down. But because they're doing some core exercises still, their heart rate's not going to drop, right down low. It's still probably going to sit, maybe around, 40%. And then once we finish off the core exercises and we get them doing some stretches, it's really then, we're really going to see that heart rate drop right back down. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
The resting heart rate, or as close to resting heart rate as possible. Awesome. Right, now we're going to move on to the last two, which is Right, how have we catered for strength and endurance? You should be able to answer this one yourself, mate. What do you think we've done to cater for strength and endurance?
Muscle strength. Okay. So I think we have like a variety of exercises and like rep ranges that works both strength and endurance.
Perfect. Awesome, man. That's great. So that's exactly to start off with. So in our main body, yeah, we've got a variety of exercises, yeah, with rep ranges that will focus on improving both strength and endurance. Great stuff. Awesome.
Cool.
And then if we are really specific and giving examples, so for exercise 1 and 2 of our session is going to focus on strength.
Okay.
And then exercise 3, 4, 5, and 6 are really going to focus on muscular endurance. All right, and to finish off, how we cater for flexibility. So we can say there that with flexibility, you know, obviously those there's 3 core stretches at the end of the session.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have been chosen because they're the predominantly tight areas of our client. You know, and we also could say in there too that in our warm up we've done some dynamic stretches to help, you know, to help with mobility before the training session starts.
Cool.
Great stuff, mate. That one's done. All right. Exercise number 3, it says, based on the program wrote for Rebecca, select one piece of equipment that you can use to fill out these things. So we're just going to use the rower, man, and the example is actually in the slides there. So you can I'm happy for you to just copy it straight from the slides because you have used a rower in your session. So the exercise equipment that we've chosen is a Concept 2 rower.
Okay.
All right, instructions for safe use. So we've got the first 2 steps there. So step 1 is choose a resistance level between 1 and 10. Yeah, adjust the foot position and pull.
Oh, sorry, Leon. What was this for, mate?
This is the next one. So the instructions yeah.
Oh yeah, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. All right. So what's the instructions? We've got the first 2 there. So first step 1 is to just put number 1 is to obviously choose a resistance level. Step 2, yeah, is foot positioning. Yeah, make sure that your feet, when you sit down on the rower, that your feet are tied in well in with the foot straps. What's step 3 for safety, you think?
Tightening the foot straps.
Well, let's just put that all in for number 2. Yeah.
Okay. In terms of safety, normally I just sit up my feet and then pick up the rower because I normally go on just like adjust row.
Yeah. So we're gonna. So we would say maybe like firmly hold the row bar with 2 hands might be another safety instruction.
Yeah.
We might another safety instruction might be to when you start rowing to slowly increase the pace. You shouldn't just go 100 mile an hour straight away. You should slowly pick up the pace. Yeah, another really big safety thing is make sure you don't have any loose clothing on because they get stuck in the rower.
True.
Yeah. Any other safety instructions that you might put down?
Maybe just like check surroundings because for me as like a big dude, sometimes I notice I hop on the rower.
Really good one. Really good one. Fantastic. Yeah.
Probably hit something behind you.
Yeah, definitely. Great stuff. All right, now maintenance. So with maintenance here, let's start with daily maintenance. The last box there. What do you reckon daily maintenance would be for a rower?
Daily maintenance for I'm not too sure what they actually do. I'm sure there's.
Yeah, cool, man. That's cool. That's what we're here to learn. So daily maintenance will just be like wiping and cleaning the rower. So just like, every day you want to just make sure you've wiped the rower down and cleaned it.
Yeah. You're right.
Yeah, weekly, there's not really weekly maintenance that you would do on it.
Yeah.
So weekly wouldn't really be like, probably actually, you know what, weekly maintenance, you might just check the rower for battery life.
Yeah.
And just, and like check the rower for like just general maintenance would be weekly.
Okay.
Monthly would be, you'd have to like, especially at a popular gym, you'd have to change like batteries.
Yeah.
And then annually would be just you'd have to get a service on the rower every year.
Oh, what? Sorry, what was that, Leon? Yearly.
Every year would have to just get the rower serviced.
Okay.
The rower every year.
Oh, for the monthly, I forgot what I was typing. Monthly.
Just put for monthly. We're just gonna like make sure we like just change batteries.
That's right. Yeah.
The computer works on the row machine.
Yeah.
Awesome, man. That's that. All right, let's move on to the next question. Question 3.
Cool.
All right. So what we're looking at here, question 3, is we're looking at ways that we can obviously monitor our clients' intensity throughout the session. All right. So we've got talk test, we've got rate of perceived exertion, we've got observation, we've got like completing sets and reps, and we've got load lifted. So these are all ways that we can observe our clients just to see the intensity that they're training at and make sure they're at a good intensity. Because if we are training a client in like a group setting, as a Cert 3 qualified trainer, we want to make sure that they're at a level, that they're there to train at. They've obviously come to us because they want to train at a certain level. So it's our job to make sure that they are training at that level. So the first one, the talk test. Now, what the talk test is, it's a really easy. So the first thing we're going to do, we've got to explain the method, and then we've got to identify one advantage and one disadvantage of the talk of each one of these. So the talk test is, to explain it, is us trying to talk to our client and hold a conversation with our client whilst they're exercising. That's what the talk test is. Because if our client can't hold a conversation with us, we say that they're working above that 70% threshold, which is what they need to be working at to improve cardiovascular fitness. So it's a sneaky way as a trainer. If you say your client's on a rower, and I'm talking to you, I'm like, hey, how's your day been? And then you're like talking to me, and then all of a sudden I ask you a question and you can't actually talk back to me because you're too busy rowing and you're too busy. That's when I know that you're at that above that 70% threshold where you need to be at to be improving your cardiovascular fitness. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Cool. All right. So to explain the talk test, let's just put down how would you put that into your own words? So we've got here's our example. The talk test involves asking questions to your client and seeing if they can respond back to you. Once a client is unable to respond back to you, we identify that as that they're working above that 70% threshold. All right. So the advantage of a talk test. So the advantage of a talk test is, it's really easy to implement. All I have to do is just hold a conversation with, like, as a trainer, it's very easy to implement because all I got to do is just talk to you. Yeah. And that should be quite an easy task for you to do. So it's very easily to implement.
Yep.
The disadvantage of it is that some people just don't like talking when they're exercising, and it's actually a distraction to them. So the disadvantage is that if you're training a client that actually doesn't like talking to you, then it becomes more of a distraction than kind of as a tool for you to use to identify. And the client might not like the session because you'll try and talk to them the whole day. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. So next one we're looking at is our rate of perceived exertion, or RPE. So RPE, we kind of spoke about this when we're doing our program. It's a rating between 1 to 10, 1 being really easy, 10 being really hard.
Yeah.
And it's what the client thinks they're working at. Now if we're treating a really, really overweight client, let's say it's a client, they weigh 150 kilos and they're quite, morbidly obese.
Yeah.
You might have them walking on a treadmill and they might think that that's an 8 RPE.
Yeah.
So it's not you to judge what the RPE is, it's the client's rate of perceived exertion. Does that make sense?
Gotcha.
Cool. All right. Yeah. So we need to write an explanation down what the RPE is. So RPE is a score between 1 to 10. 1 being really easy, 10 being really hard. And it is the perceived exertion rate that the client feels they're working at.
It's a
perceived exertion rate that the client feels that they're working at. Now, the advantage of the talk test is that it's what we call a universal test. And what I mean by a universal test is that everyone, doesn't matter who you are, doesn't matter what age you are, understands what you mean by, give me a score out of 1 to 10 on how hard you think you're working right now. Like everyone understands that concept, because it's, scoring things out of 10 is something that we do from a very young age at school. So we're all used to rating things, and it's very easy to rate things, all right? So advantage is that everyone will understand it, and you can quickly identify the intensity the client thinks they're working at, and to see if you need to up that or you need to bring it down. Yeah, cool. All right. The disadvantage is that if clients catch on what RPE means and the way you respond to it, they can lie. Yeah. And they can say, I'm working, Leon, I'm working at an 8 here, and I only want them working at a 6.
Yeah.
I give them some more rest, and then they're just bludgeoned now because they're really only working at a 4, but they're to me, so they're working at an 8. All right. So the disadvantage, if the clients catch on why we do RPE scoring, they could potentially lie to us, which, obviously then makes RPE, irrelevant. All right. The next one is observation of technique. Now, this is quite easy and self-explanatory, but what we mean by observation technique is watching the clients whilst they're doing the exercise. Yep. Now, if we see their technique starting to crumble and to deteriorate, then we know that they're starting to fatigue. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
That's pretty self. Pretty self. Key things that we're looking for, for example, if you're doing a squat, would be that the client knees start coming together because their glutes are starting to fatigue. They're not going as deep as what they normally would go. And they're starting to get a rounded back. So, little cues like that would definitely show you that, they're fatiguing. Cool. So let's just say observation of technique, is just observing the client whilst they're performing exercises. To look for cues that, their form is deteriorating is probably the main thing. Like it's different if the client always had bad technique. That's not that's different. It's when when they start with good technique and it slowly gets worse and worse and worse. We know that they're starting to fatigue.
Yeah,
the intensity is probably a little bit too high, or the weight's a little bit too high. Cool. So the advantage. What do you think the advantage is of observation technique?
I think the advantage is that it's easier to give feedback because you can physically see what.
Perfect. Awesome. Definitely. So the advantage of it is that, yeah, obviously it's easy to identify once you know what you're looking for, and you can give feedback to your client straight away. Now, the disadvantage of, you know, observing a client and looking for observation technique is that, and I'll explain it first and we'll put it into some words, but you don't ever want to make your client feel like they've failed, because that's a really, like, you know, as a client, you feel kind of deflated in a way, and you don't want to come back because, you know, this is all too hard. I don't want to do this. So our job as, you know, as fitness instructors is always to lift our clients up. So if we're solely focusing on, once our client's fatigue falters, that's when we're going to, you know, bring the weight down, or we're going to change the exercise. Our clients will pick up on that, and our clients will be like, "You're only doing that because I can't do it," which is going to deflate them. Is that making sense? So it's very hard to, you know, if you're doing a squat and your fatigue starts going, I don't want you to injure yourself, so I'll tell you to stop straight away. Most people won't want to stop. They're like, no, I'll get the last couple out. You've got to make them stop. And then they're going to feel like that they've failed because you made them stop and you've taken the weight off. So that's the disadvantage of, you know, using observation technique as a way to monitor someone's intensity. And so because it's going to have a negative impact on the client and their experience with exercise. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
All right, so let's put something down. All right, so completed reps and sets, very similar to like observation technique in a way where it's just looking at if our client is completing the reps and sets that we've set out for them. So that's all that is. So, you know, is our client able, if we've said we're going to do 4 sets of, you know, 12, 8, 10, 12, are they able to do those 4 sets of those reps? So that's extremely straightforward. So let's just put that down. So has our client completed the reps and sets that have been prescribed to them in their program? Is what completing sets of reps. All right, advantage of this, really easy to identify. It's either they have done it or they haven't done it. So, and how easy have they done it, or how hard has it been to be achieved? So that's the advantage. So it's really easy to identify, and it's really easy to see if the client's been able to achieve it easily, or if it's been a real struggle, or they haven't been able to do it at all. The disadvantage, again, it's very similar to observation. If the client knows they've got to do 12 reps, but they only get 8 reps out, they feel like they've failed. Okay, so you know that's why that would be the disadvantages again. You know, where we don't want to set our clients up for failure. We don't want to have a bad experience. So by monitoring our clients' intensity through, if they've completed their reps and sets, would give them that negative experience.
Yeah.
All right, load lifted is our next one. Again, very self-explanatory. How much weight is our client lifting? Are they able to increase their weight every set? Are they lifting more than what they would normally lift? Are they lifting less than what they would normally lift? So the load lifted is really self-explanatory. It's how much weight is our client lifting, and compared to what they would normally do, compared to what their last set was, compared to what their program says they should be doing.
Okay. Advantages?
Advantage. So advantage would be that, it's very easy to change. If we feel like our client is doing that easy because of the load, we can always bump it up. Yeah. If the client is finding it hard, we can always bring it down. So the advantage is that by looking at how much load they're lifting to the intensity, we can always change it to make sure that they're at the intensity that they should be at. And that's another reason why we should never put the load on the program, because then it's a bit of a fail for the client, because it's, you know, it's like, oh, I should be lifting this. You said in the program I should be lifting this, but it's not, oh, lift 100 kilos. It's lift at 80%. Now, if you can't do it, you're not lifting at 80%, because 80% you should be able to do. So
yeah,
that's why again, we don't put load, the actual weight, on the program card. Now, the disadvantage, like, it's sometimes when you're programming for someone, it's really hard. You know, like you might get it wrong from the start with the load that you started with. So you might say, okay, let's do some squats. What do you like? I think we're going to start at 70%. Let's say you're 70%.
Yeah.
70 kilos. And then we put 70 kilos on the bar. All right, next set, we're meant to be doing 80 kilos, because it says we've got to move it to 80%. But you can't do 80 kilos at that percentage. So you've kind of misjudged how much weight should be on there, if that's making sense.
Yeah.
So it might not mean the client is finding the training hard. It's just too heavy for them, and they physically haven't got the strength to do it. Cool. So the disadvantage is that it sometimes can, you know, be misleading to the client and to you as a trainer, because it isn't that they're fatigued. It's more that just, you know, in general, the weight that you've chosen is just too heavy. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, to finish off today, man, our last question 4. It says, explain in detail how you would modify Rebecca's training session if she complained of lower back pain whilst doing her barbell squat or her back squat. So, what would we do? If she's done a back squat, she's in round 3, and in round 3 she said, "Oh, my back's, you know, my back's feeling sore." What's the first thing that we should do as a trainer? What do you think? Just talk me through what you think you would do first.
Probably, well, I think health and safety comes first. So would you like contact a physio or something, or do you carry on with the workout, or is that?
Yeah, you're on the right track here. You're on the right track, but the very first thing we'll do is we get the client to do what we call a self-assessment.
Okay.
The first step is to have the client complete a self-assessment.
Gotcha.
All right. So with our self-assessment, now we're going to be looking at the client where the pain is, how bad is the pain? Yeah. Is it a sharp pain? Is it a numbness? All right. We want the client to do a self-assessment. And from that self-assessment is really going to give us the guide to what we need to do next.
Okay.
Right. If the self-assessment is like, the pain's here, it's about a 3 out of 10, and it's a little bit of a numb pain. You know, we might grade that as like a low, for example. We might then just change the exercise up. So we might, get her to do some body weight squats instead.
Yeah.
And so if the self-assessment indicates that the pain is serious, then we can just modify the exercise.
Yeah.
To make it easier. So regress the exercise. So make them squat onto a box, make them do a body weight squat. They're probably the key things. And then what we're going to do is, once they do that modified exercise, we're going to ask them, is the pain still there?
Yeah.
Now, if the pain isn't there, then we'll just get them to do the rest of the session. Instead of doing back squats, we'll just get them to do body weight squats the rest of the session.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
All right. If the pain is still there, then we want to change the exercise altogether to really take load off their lower back, but we want to we want to still work those muscle groups that we're working with, which are our glutes, our hammies, our quads with a squat. So what we could change the exercise to, we could change it to a leg press because that's going to take the pressure off our lower back.
Yeah.
We could also change to something like a glute bridge, because again, it's going to take the pressure off our lower back because we're laying on our back and we're just doing glute bridges. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So we're still going to be using those same muscle groups, but we're going to we're going to be taking the pressure off the lower back. All right. If the pain is still there, with doing that, then we'll just stop doing that like lower body exercises and just focus on upper body exercises.
Yeah.
All right. If the pain is still there when doing upper body exercise, we stop the session altogether. Yeah, and we get them to go see a physio or doctor and make sure before they come back to train that they've got a referral letter to say that they're allowed to come back to train.
Yeah.
But if at the very start the client says, "Oh yeah, it's really bad. It's a really sharp pain. It's like a 10," you just stop. Yeah, you don't even bother. You don't even bother trying to just do upper body. You don't bother to try and stretch it out. That's not our job. Yeah. Our job isn't to fix when our clients potentially have hurt themselves. Yeah. Our job is to keep our clients safe, as you were saying, and the safety of our client is extremely important. So we want our client just to stop straight away to go see someone straight away.
Yeah.
Yeah, and again, not allowed back until they've got that clearance.
Yeah. Cool.
All
sweet. I think I got most of that.
You got that down, man. Awesome, buddy. So that's our session done for the day. We did spend a lot of time today going through that program, but I'm happy that we've done that because again, it's important that that programming is key. So next week, we had planned to do 2C and 2D this week, but I think that we've gone through 2C, and 2D is all about writing group programs up for a big group. So I really want to go through that with everyone in detail as well. So we'll just work on 2C for this week, and then next week we'll move into 2D. But man, did a really good job today. Any questions before you go? Because as I said, it's really important that we understand program writing. So you've got any questions, or you're all good?
No, it all seems pretty clear and pretty interesting. It's just get the hang of it, then it's all straightforward. But no, I appreciate it, man.
No, awesome, man.